Well, hey guys, welcome back to Network Chuck. Oh, no, sorry, force a habit. Welcome to my first webinar. If you don't know who I am, my name is Chuck Keith, aka Network Chuck. I get on the YouTubes and I make all these YouTube videos, and I am now a CBT Nugget trainer. And hey, this is my first webinar. So thanks for being here to talk about my favorite thing. I'm a network and collaboration engineer, but collaboration is my heart. I love it. It's the fire in my bones. It's everything. So today we're going to talk about what you need to build a CCNP collaboration home lab. So grab your coffee, because I already have, and let's jump into this. So first of all, CCNP collaboration, what is it? Well, it replaced our beloved CCNP voice certification, which was really just focused on voice. And now we have this whole collaboration thing. What is that? Well, now it's not just about voice. It's about bringing people together, video, chat applications, all kinds of stuff. And when I first heard about collaboration, I wasn't a big fan, because the company I was working for at the time, they weren't jumping into video, so it was foreign to me. I didn't know about it. But when I jumped into it, started playing with it, come on, who doesn't love video? Now with the CCNP collaboration certification, if you're going for that, it's going to be 4 exams. And it follows the same format as the CCNP voice exam, except it adds all the fun, cool video stuff. So the first exam, CIP-TV1, it's going to kind of combine the C voice and the CIPT1. It's going to give you all the basic stuff about collaboration. It's going to go over basics UCM, single site setup, dial plans. It's meaty. It's got a lot of stuff in it. It's awesome. It's my favorite exam. And then we got CIP-TV2, which goes into multi-site, jumps into more video stuff. We look at VCS. We look at Cisco Expressway. And then we have the fun one, which is the CT Collab. It is what it is. You get to troubleshoot collaboration, which is really cool. Then we have the CAPS, the Collab apps. And this will cover all our other applications like Cisco Unity, our voicemail servers, Unity Express, IM and Presence, Jabber, chat, and all that kind of stuff. And even the TMS management system for conferencing and all that really fun stuff. So once you have passed these 4 exams, I know it seems like a lot, you will then be CCNP collaboration certified. And now, like any Cisco exam, or really any exam you can find, labbing is really important to learn these concepts, especially if you're trying to get a job and apply this to the real world, which I'm assuming you are, right? But man, that's where collaboration really hurts your wallet, because it's expensive to lab collab stuff. Out of the certifications I've worked on and studied for, this is by far the most expensive I've ever experienced to lab. And unless you're fortunate enough to be at a company that has all this stuff implemented, it can be difficult to get in and actually touch this stuff, because it is so expensive. Now, here is a list of your typical lab stuff, all the stuff you'll see when you look up CCNP Collaboration Lab. You'll see people saying, oh, you need all these phones, you need all these routers, all these switches. You need a lot of stuff. And when I see that, I start to have like a heart attack, because it's a lot of money. I've seen labs that cost as much as $4,000. I'm thinking, there's got to be another way. My CCNP routing and switching lab didn't cost that much. But collaboration, man, it's not the easiest exam to pass, because it's so hard to get hands-on experience. So with that in mind, I want to kind of walk through what you might see in a typical lab, but then go into how we can actually replace some of that with free stuff that can be virtualized. Hey, I probably got your attention now, because that's immediately what I wanted to do. Now, I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of everything you need for a physical lab. Jeremy Chara's webinar on the CCNA collaboration lab setup was fantastic, and most of it will translate into the CCNP collaboration. But here's what you normally look at. You look at phones, right? You get your cheap phones, 7960s. Those are really cheap, really easy to get. You get your video phones, your 7971, your DX650, your EX90. These will be more for your VCS. They're pretty expensive, couple $100 a piece. Actually, this guy might end up being more. So that's expensive. Well, then you need your routers and switches. You got to do your cube routers, your iOS gateways. You got to have multiple sites. Then you want to do your switches, 3750s, 3650s. You want to do QoS. I'm just seeing $ after $ after $. This is heart palpitations. And you'll need PoE to power your phones, so you'll need a switch with PoE, which makes it even more expensive. And then you'll need the beefiest of beefiest server, because you're going to be running a lot of VMs. Now with the CCNA collaboration, you could get away with one publisher, one subscriber, maybe a present server and Unity server. Hey, that's not too many servers. A laptop can handle that, right? Well, with the CCNP collaboration, we're dealing with multiple sites, right? So we need multiple pubs, multiple subs, multiple present servers possibly. And then we got VCS and Expressway, which by itself is multiple servers. So here we go. How can we alleviate the stress and pressure of affording all of this with free stuff? Now, quick disclaimer, some stuff you cannot virtualize or get for free. I mean, one of those being like transcoding. Because with transcoding, what do you need? You need DSPs, digital signal processors, which come in, little PVDM cards that you will install on your router. Those things you cannot emulate in a virtual environment. So if you really want to lab that up, which I do recommend if you can, if you have the means to, get a PVDM. And then in comes GNS3. Now if you've been in IT for any amount of time, you will probably have heard of GNS3, but for those of you who have not, it is the go-to for network simulation, or emulation really. And what I mean is you can actually drag and drop Cisco routers and switches virtually onto a little topology and run them using real Cisco IOS, and also other vendors as well. Now I'm not going to reinvent the wheel and try to go through and show you how to use GNS3. There are a ton of videos on YouTube about that, so I encourage you to go look it up. And for the longest time, I used this for my routing and switching labs. But did you know you can actually use it for voice? I'm sorry, collaboration. I got to change my vernacular here. It's collaboration now, guys. You can use it for collaboration. And I'm using it right now. So I've got kind of a hybrid environment with my lab. I have some physical equipment, but a lot of it is in GNS3. Now, I'll say with a little help from Viral. Why do I say that? Well, what is Viral? Well, Viral is Cisco's version of GNS3, basically. It costs money, about $200 a year for students. But what's great about Viral is Cisco produced their own specialized virtual images of their routers and their switches. Now, why do I put emphasis on switches? Well, because for the longest time, you could not emulate switching in GNS3. You just couldn't do it. It had something to do with the ASIC and everything, but the only thing you could do were routers and only certain versions of routers. So you were kind of restricted on what you could do. But when Viral came in, they produced their own specialized version of iOS and also iOS with layer 2 devices. So now you can emulate routers and switches no problem. So that's great news for us when we're talking about doing QoS or any of those collaboration focused features. Well, you can do that virtually now. That's awesome. Then not to even mention we can do Call Manager Express. Now you can also find a great tutorial online. Just go YouTube it, how to set up Call Manager Express in GNS3. But essentially you run a Cisco 7200 router. And you can emulate GNS3 and do an SRST router. It runs like a dream. And then like I mentioned before, with the CCNP collaboration, you're going to have multi-sites. You'll have to deploy a bunch of routers and it's to separate your environment. Well, you can do that in GNS3. And then here comes the coolest part. And this is such a cool thing. I can't believe how cool this is. But you can connect it to the real world. So you can actually connect your virtual GNS3 environment, whatever you have it running off of, whether it's your laptop or your server. You can connect it to real routers and real switches and, get this, real phones. You can register your real phones, your physical phones, to your virtual Call Manager Express. How cool is that? I'm talking about GNS3. Let me just show it to you real quick. I actually have it open. Let me drag it over here. Well, pop it up there. And yeah, here it is. I was playing with it before I jumped on this webinar. But it's a drag and drop scenario. I'm connected to my GNS3 server. I've got my 7200 series router. It's already powered up. I just double click it to get in. And there she is. It's a real router. Show IP interface brief. Bam. And then this is a switch. Let me just jump in there. It's a real switch. Oh, it helps if you do the commands right. Look at that. It's beautiful. Hey, you want another router? Sure. Let's throw another router out there. Bam. It's that easy. And then with this little NAT cloud here, I'm connecting. This cloud is actually my house. I'm connected to my real physical switch. And so I'm able to interact not only with the internet, the real internet, I'm also able to connect to my lab. So again, ton of tutorials out there on how to do this, but no, this is an option. So don't feel like you have to buy a ton of routers and switches. You can emulate a lot of this. Virtualization station. So yes, this is a little snapshot of my VMs on my server. And yeah, you'll probably need a server to do all of this, especially with the CCNP collaboration because you're doing multi-sites. You'll need a few CUCM. You'll need a CUCM pub, maybe a few pubs, a few subs, IM presence. Basically, a lot of memory and a lot of processing power. And you can buy, like, I have a Dell PowerEdge R610. You can look it up on eBay. It's not that expensive, a couple $100, and it does the job. Okay, great. So we know we can build a server. If you're in IT, you probably built a server before, right? Well, the problem we have here is getting our hands on these images. How do we do this? If you're a customer of Cisco, you know you can go to cisco.com, you can download the different CUCM images. The problem is those things aren't bootable. They're only good for upgrades. So if you try to upload those ISOs into VMware ESXi or Player or Workstation, whatever you're using, they are not going to boot and install. Now, I know there's a few tricks online where you can go and you can edit the ISO to make it actually boot, make it become a bootable file. Yeah, whatever. What I did, and those are good actually if you already have the upgraded files. But what I did, if this is for Cisco customers, is I just reached out to Cisco and said, hey, I'm doing a lab. Can I please have this version of CUCM, Unity, Presence, all of these? And they sent them to me. So I've got like from 9 to 11.5 bootable. It's awesome. Now, what if you're not a Cisco customer? Well, you can actually buy these on eBay, which is kind of weird. But I mean, if you like, I know I bought a 2911 off eBay, and it was like a CCNP collab, set up, and the little package came with a DVD with all the images on it, all the bootable images. So if you're not able to use some Google foo to find it online, you can buy them off eBay. Now you may be going, well, Chuck, what about licenses? I know CUCM has some licensing. Cisco always has licenses, right? Well, you get a 60-day free trial with the latest images, I believe, and you can deploy as many phones as you want, as many of whatever you want in CUCM and Presence and Unity and all that good stuff. Now, the problem we have is when we get to VCS and Expressway, and this is just a frustration for me. And I know, I hear a lot of complaints about this, but you can download the VCS and Expressway images. You can find them online, you can find them on eBay, fantastic. The problem is with Expressway, you need a license key to actually activate the feature you need to lab, which is, Cisco MRA, mobile remote access, because you'll have your Expressway E and your Expressway C server. To make it a C server, to make it E server, and to do the NAT traversal and everything you need for the Expressway feature, it's a license key. And really, unless you're a Cisco customer and you can request a temporary license key for demo, I have not found a good way to do this just yet. So it's hard to lab Expressway because of that license feature. But I have good news if you happen to be a Cisco customer, if your company buys Cisco stuff and they have licenses and such. And we'll hit that in a second. And then you'll also want a Windows server, because we're within the CUCM architecture in our big architecture for collaboration. You'll need LDAP for Active Directory. So Windows Server, you can download that from Microsoft, get I think it's like a 60-day free trial, 90-day, however long they do now, and deploy that on your server. Now, there's one thing I want y'all to look at too, real quick, and it's the Cisco CSR 1000V cloud router, the cloud services router. You know that the Cisco Cube router is going to be on the CIPTV1 exam, and I believe on the 2 as well. But there's a thing called a virtual cube, and this is people deploy this in their environments on a Cisco CSRV router. So I actually have my Cisco Cube running off this Cisco CSR 1000V. Now, I love how Cisco did this for demo purposes, for labbing purposes. Most of Cisco stuff, you have to have a full license to demo most of the features. With this, you don't. They give you a throughput limit of like 1.5 megabits per second or whatever it was, something that I'm not going to hit in a lab environment. But I was able to enable most of my Cube features. You can even deploy a couple, do some HA. And if you're a Cisco customer, you can download this and deploy that in your environment. You can even implement this and configure it with GNS 3, which you can find on all the information on YouTube. So it's awesome. I do have a physical cube, but I end up using this more often than not because it's so easy. And it's what I actually have connected to my SIP provider right now. All right, so you may be thinking, Chuck, well, okay, well, what if I don't have this big beefy server? What if I don't have CUCM images? How do I do this? What if I don't work for someone who's a Cisco customer? How do I lab any of this stuff right now? I don't want to spend months saving money just to build this lab. Well, I've got great news for you. But you're going to have to become an undercover developer. What I mean by that is Cisco has this site called DevNet, and it's for developers to practice or lab up their code integrations with Cisco products. What this means is that developers can go into Cisco, get a free account, and they can request a CUCM or Unity or even Presence server as a sandbox they can go in there and play with. Now, I know, you may not be a developer. It doesn't matter, and they actually don't care. It's a free account. You don't have to be a Cisco customer. You go in there, you sign up. You can reserve about 2 hours at a time on a CUCM server. Pick your version. It's seriously that cool. So what they'll give you is free access to a topology of CUCM, Unity, and Presence, and even Active Directory. This saves you a ton of time. You'll get access for 2 hours. And I actually requested one about 15 minutes ago, and it's already ready. I set up a free account, and here's what it looks like. Let me go over here. Bam! Would you look at that? CUCM publisher and subscriber, IM and Presence, and a 2012 Active Directory. I mean, oh my gosh. How awesome is that? Now here's how you access it. You can use a Cisco IndyConnect VPN. They give you the whole guide of how to do that with a lab user guide. But this is completely free. Good guy Cisco coming out with a free lab. Oh my gosh. I wish this was available years ago, but it's cool they have it now for you guys. And for me, I love this. This is so cool. Because sometimes I don't want to, spin up my lab and mess up anything. I just want to spin up a quick sandbox to play with stuff. Bam. Now you can even integrate a Cisco router, like an 891 router, to this environment. They'll connect via IPsec VPN and connect your real home lab. So if you had like Cisco phones to this lab, I know that's you gotta admit that's pretty stinking cool. So I'm getting close to my time here, so I wanted to include this. So last slide, here we go. If you have connections, what I mean is if you're a Cisco partner or a Cisco customer, your company actually pays for Cisco support or they bought Cisco products, you can use what's called Cisco D Cloud. Now this is really, really neat. So let me show you real quick what this is. Here we go. Come experience Cisco. Don't you love that? That just makes me feel like I'm about to go on an adventure. So this is meant for customers to learn how to use Cisco stuff and partners for them to demonstrate the software and the stuff to potential customers. But anyhow, you can go to a catalog of labs. So let's just go to our catalog here. We'll go to lab and let's look at collaboration labs. Look at that. You got a Spark Enablement Lab. You can go through an entire architecture lab of enterprise collaboration and it walks you through a Cisco validated design scenario. That's so amazing. Now, one that I loved, and this is so cool because this answers one of the hard things I always encounter is look at this. It's a Cisco Mobile Remote Access Troubleshooting Lab. That's Expressway, guys. So without having to deploy anything on your own home lab, you can go in here and do a mobile remote access lab, troubleshooting lab at that, for free on Cisco D Cloud if you are a Cisco customer or partner. Now, I already requested a architecture lab, or I scheduled it, so let me jump over there real quick. Go to my hub, and there it is. Now, would you look at that? Look at all the stuff I have to play with. I've got cubes, I've got expressways, I've got TMS, I've got CMS, Cisco Meeting Server, which I don't think the exams cover just yet. I've got workstations, and you can connect all of this to your home lab as well. In the same way we did with our Cisco DevNet. You can use AnyConnect VPN, you can use a Cisco 891 router with IPsec, but this is the full kit and caboodle here. This is everything. Now, I know, if you're not a Cisco partner or customer, you can't access this. But you still have the sandbox, the DevNet sandbox, which, I mean, look at this. You can reserve a Collaboration 11.5, Contact Center if you're into that, which is my favorite thing. Let me go to all the catalog here. I mean, yeah, look at this. I mean, you have a ton of stuff you can play with. Now, I always tell people when they're studying for certifications, don't let anything get in the way of studying today. And oftentimes, I'll hear about guys and gals who say, oh yeah, I'm studying for my CCNP, I'm just waiting on some equipment, or I'm waiting to save some money to buy some equipment. And I'm always like, you know what? Do whatever you can today. And that's why I wanted to show you guys some of the free options, some of the things you can get set up right now. You can create a DevNet account right now and go access CUCM, IM Presence, with Unity and Active Directory. You can do all of that right now, have 2 hours, you've got a lab. So the moral of the story, don't let anything stop you. You can go crazy with your CCNP collaboration lab and really just drop a ton of cash, but not everyone can do that, and you don't have to do that. So as you're planning out your CCNP collaboration lab and you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to break me, look at this and look and see how you can maybe replace some of these expensive physical items with virtual items from GNS3 or Viral, or do a lot of stuff in the Cisco D Cloud or the Cisco DevNet. You have options. But oh, I know that was a lot. But anyways, let's jump into the Q&A.